Let me tell you something, my friend. If you want to change your financial life, you don't need to wait for a promotion, an inheritance, or a miracle. What you need are principles. And I've got 7 of them that wealthy people live by. And you can start them at any age. Are you ready? Living below your means is not just a financial habit. It's a mindset. It's a conscious decision to take control of your money instead of letting your money control you. Most people believe that the secret to wealth is earning more. And while income plays a role, the truth is, it's not how much you make that determines your financial destiny. It's how much you keep. That's the foundational principle of living below your means. You see, when your income rises, it's tempting to raise your lifestyle with it. A new job, a raise, a bonus, and suddenly you're driving a nicer car, eating out more often, upgrading your phone every year, and moving into a bigger house. But here's the trap. Your expenses grow just as fast as your income, or even faster. That's called lifestyle inflation. And it's the -- reason why high-income earners still live paycheck to paycheck. They're caught in a cycle of earning and spending, never getting ahead. Wealthy people approach this differently. Instead of increasing their lifestyle every time they earn more, they choose to increase their savings, their investments, and their freedom. They understand that every dollar they don't spend is a dollar they can invest, and every dollar they invest has the potential to multiply. That's the power of living below your means. It creates a gap between what you earn and what you spend, and that gap, that's where wealth lives. Now, living below your means doesn't mean living in scarcity. It doesn't mean you have to give up every pleasure or live like a monk. It simply means you make intentional decisions with your money. You budget, you prioritize, you ask, is this purchase adding value to my life? Or is it just a moment of impulse? You learn to delay gratification. You become the kind of person who thinks long term. Most people buy things to impress others. They buy clothes, cars, gadgets, all for image. But wealthy people understand status won't make you wealthy. Ownership will, assets will, freedom will. And none of those things come from spending every dime you earn. They come from discipline, from restraint, from making the hard choice today so you can have options tomorrow. Living below your means gives you power when you don't owe anyone anything. When your expenses are low and your savings are high, you're in control. You're not dependent on a single job. You don't panic when emergencies come up. You can take a risk, start a business, invest in an opportunity, or walk away from something that no longer serves you. That kind of freedom doesn't come from income. It comes from financial control. And financial control comes from living below your means. Let me tell you, it's not easy in today's world. Every ad is telling you to spend. Social media makes it look like everyone else is living the high life. But here's a secret. A lot of people showing off luxury are actually drowning in debt. The wealthy ones, they're usually quiet. They're steady. They're focused. They're not chasing shiny things. They're building something real. If you want to build wealth, you have to resist the urge to match the crowd. You have to decide that your future is more important than a moment of pleasure. You have to tell yourself, I don't need to look rich. I want to be rich. And being rich starts with the basics. It starts with spending less than you make. That's the seed. Plant it early, and with time, discipline, and consistency, it will grow. You can start today, no matter where you are. If you're young, start building that gap now. It will serve you for life. If you're older, it's not too late. Trim your expenses, track your spending, say no to what doesn't matter, so you can say yes to what does. Wealth is not built overnight. It's built one decision at a time. And one of the most powerful decisions you can make is to live below your means. Do that, and you'll always be ahead. Paying yourself first is one of the most powerful financial habits you can develop. And yet it's also one of the most misunderstood. Most people follow the traditional formula: earn a paycheck, pay the bills, buy the groceries, handle the necessities, maybe spend a little on entertainment, And if there's anything left over, they think about saving. But here's the truth. There's rarely anything left over because expenses have a way of expanding to match income. That's why the wealthy follow a different strategy. They pay themselves first. What does that really mean? It means that the first thing you do when you earn money is allocate a portion of it to your future. Before you pay your landlord, before you buy dinner, before you even touch the bills, you set aside money for yourself. And by yourself, we're not talking about spending money. We're talking about your investments, your savings, your future freedom. You see, paying yourself first is about shifting priorities. Most people are reactive with their money. They respond to bills, obligations, and temptations. But wealthy people are proactive. They make building wealth their first financial priority. That might mean putting 10%, 20%, or even more of their income directly into savings, retirement accounts, or investment vehicles. As soon as it hits their account, they treat that money as non-negotiable. It's not leftover cash. It's the most important piece. There's a psychological power behind this habit. When you pay yourself first, you're sending a signal to your brain. My future matters. I value long-term security over short-term gratification. Over time, that mentality compounds just like your money does. You begin to make different choices. You look for ways to reduce expenses or increase income, not because you're desperate, but because you're committed to building a financial life of independence. Paying yourself first also forces you to live within your means. If you take 15% off the top of every paycheck and put it away automatically, you're forced to live on the remaining 85%. And here's the insight. Most people can live on less. They just never try. They spend everything available because everything is available. But when you make your future savings untouchable, you adapt. You find ways to be smarter with the rest of your money. That constraint actually increases your creativity and resourcefulness. Another benefit is that this habit builds consistency. You're not relying on willpower or waiting for a perfect moment to start saving or investing. You've created a system. Whether you're making a lot of money or just getting started, the habit stays in place. That consistency is what builds wealth over time. Compound interest works best, not just with big numbers, but with consistent action. A small amount saved regularly can grow into a significant sum over years and decades. And let's not overlook the emotional benefit. When you pay yourself first, you're reducing stress. You're building a cushion. You're not living on the edge, constantly worried about unexpected expenses or life disruptions. You have reserves. That peace of mind is priceless, and it gives you the mental clarity to make better decisions, take more calculated risks, and live with more freedom. Now, some people might say, I can't afford to save right now. But the truth is, you can't afford not to. Start small if you have to, even if it's just 1% of your income. The habit is more important than the amount, because once you develop the muscle, you can scale it. You'll start seeing progress, and that momentum will inspire you to do more. The hardest part is getting started. Once you've made it automatic, once it becomes part of who you are, it's no longer a struggle. It's just your way of life. And here's the beautiful thing. Paying yourself first doesn't just benefit you. It benefits your family, your future generations, your community. When you have a strong financial foundation, you're in a position to give, to invest in others, to make an impact. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, and you're able to help others thrive too. This is how wealth is built, not through one-time windfalls or luck, but through small, consistent choices that add up over time. Paying yourself first is one of those cornerstone choices. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's effective. It's the quiet decision that leads to loud success. So the next time you get paid, don't let that money slip away into obligations and distractions. Take control, make yourself the priority, pay yourself first, and watch what happens to your financial life over time. Investing in financial education is one of the smartest and most rewarding decisions you can ever make. Unlike material possessions that lose value over time, Knowledge compounds. It builds on itself, strengthens your understanding, improves your decision-making, and ultimately shapes your financial destiny. The wealthiest people in the world all have one thing in common. They are lifelong students of money. They study it, they respect it, and they use that knowledge to make informed and strategic choices. And here's the best part. You don't need a formal degree or a background in finance to start. You just need curiosity, discipline, and the willingness to learn. Most people never take the time to truly understand money. They learn to earn it, they learn to spend it, but they never learn how it works, how it grows, or how to make it work for them. They rely on guesswork, hearsay, and luck. As a result, they end up in financial stress, constantly reacting instead of planning, surviving instead of thriving. But money is not a mystery. It follows rules, patterns, and principles. And when you understand those principles, you can begin to control your financial outcomes instead of being at their mercy. Financial education isn't just about investing in stocks or learning tax codes. It's about developing a mindset. It's about understanding how money flows, how decisions compound, and how time can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. When you educate yourself financially, you start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to ask better questions, and better questions lead to better results. You become proactive rather than reactive. Start simple, read books. There are countless personal finance classics that break down complex ideas into practical, actionable steps. Titles like The Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Millionaire Next Door provide foundational wisdom that can reshape how you view money. Follow financial experts, watch educational videos, listen to podcasts, take online courses. The information is more accessible than ever. You don't need to go to Wall Street to understand how investing works. You just need to be intentional. But don't just consume, apply. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. If you learn how compound interest works, start a savings or investment account and let it work for you. If you discover the importance of budgeting, sit down and create one. If you understand how debt can drag you down, take steps to reduce or eliminate it. Education is powerful, but only when it's put to use. The key is consistency. Financial education isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong journey. Markets evolve, laws change, economies shift. The more informed you are, the better you can adapt and pivot. The world is filled with financial traps, but it's also full of opportunities for those who know where to look. The only way to recognize them is by sharpening your awareness and expanding your understanding. Investing in your financial education also gives you confidence. It replaces fear with clarity. When you don't understand money, every decision feels like a gamble. But when you're educated, you don't panic during market downturns. You recognize them as buying opportunities. You don't jump on every trend. You analyze them with logic and insight. You move from being a follower to being a leader in your own financial life. And here's something even more powerful. When you invest in your own financial knowledge, you become a resource for others. You can help your family, your children, your friends. You can break cycles of poverty, ignorance, and poor money habits that have lasted for generations. Your growth can spark growth in others. You become part of the solution instead of a victim of the problem. Think of financial education as building a tool belt. Every lesson, every insight, every piece of knowledge is another tool you can use to shape your financial future. Without the tools, you're trying to build a life with your bare hands. Frustrating, inefficient, and often unsuccessful. But with the right tools, you can construct something solid, lasting, and meaningful. So never stop learning. Make it a daily habit. Read, listen, study, apply. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. Ask questions, test ideas, learn from mistakes, yours and others. Because in the end, the most valuable investment you will ever make isn't in a stock or a property. It's in yourself. And when you become financially educated, no one can take that from you. It becomes part of who you are, and it will pay dividends for a lifetime. Building multiple streams of income is one of the most important financial moves you can make if you want to achieve long-term wealth and security. In today's world, relying on a single source of income, like a job, is one of the riskiest financial positions you can be in. Jobs can be lost, companies can downsize, industries can shift, and economies can crash. When all your income depends on one source, your entire financial life can be turned upside down in an instant. Wealthy people understand this, which is why they focus on creating and growing multiple income streams that continue to produce even when they're not actively working. The idea is simple. Instead of exchanging your time for money once, you build systems that pay you repeatedly. You begin to shift from being an employee to being an owner. You create or invest in assets that work for you. This could be anything from real estate rentals, dividend-paying stocks, and small businesses, to royalties, online content, or affiliate marketing. Each stream doesn't have to be massive. Even small streams, when combined, create a river. And over time, those streams can grow with consistent effort and reinvestment. Creating multiple streams of income starts with a mindset shift. Most people are trained to think in linear terms. Go to school, get a job, earn a paycheck, and repeat. But that model is outdated and limiting. Wealthy individuals understand the power of leverage. They leverage time, money, technology, and people to build income sources that don't depend entirely on their physical presence or direct effort every single day. They plant seeds that keep growing, sometimes slowly at first, but with care and patience, they eventually produce a harvest. Let's say your job is your main source of income right now. That's fine. Everyone starts somewhere. But think about what you can build alongside it. Can you start a side hustle using a skill you already have? Can you begin learning how to invest in the stock market, even with small amounts? Can you write a book, start a blog, teach online, or sell a product or service that people need? These are not fantasies. They are real, proven ways people generate additional income. The difference is, wealthy people act on them, while others only dream. One of the best parts of having multiple streams of income is the stability and peace of mind it creates. When one stream slows down or dries up, the others keep flowing. You're not living in fear of a job loss or an economic downturn. You have options, and when you have options, you have power. You can make choices that align with your values and goals, not just your financial pressures. You can walk away from toxic work environments. You can take time off when you need it. You can say no to things that don't serve you. That kind of freedom is priceless, and it's built through income diversification. Another powerful benefit is that these streams often grow without requiring constant attention. Passive income, like dividends, royalties, or rental income, can keep coming in month after month, with minimal maintenance. Semi-passive income, like a business or an online store, might require some effort up front, but less over time. Even if you're not aiming for full financial independence right away, adding just one or two new streams can significantly improve your financial health and accelerate your progress toward bigger goals. Of course, building multiple streams of income takes time. It takes effort, learning, experimentation, and sometimes failure. Not every idea will work. Not every investment will pay off. But wealthy people aren't afraid of that. They understand that every mistake teaches a lesson. Every setback reveals a better strategy. The goal isn't perfection, it's momentum. You just have to start, even if it's small. Create something, test something, build something. Over time it grows, and before you know it, you're no longer dependent on one paycheck. You've created a foundation that supports you, even when life throws you a curveball. The truth is, You don't have to be a genius or a millionaire to start building multiple income streams. You just have to be intentional. You have to be willing to step out of the traditional mindset and think differently. Instead of trading hours for dollars forever, you start planting seeds, projects, investments, ideas that pay you in the background. That's how financial independence begins. That's how true wealth is built. Not from a single stream, but from a flowing river of income that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. Avoiding bad debt is one of the most crucial decisions you can make on the path to financial freedom. Debt itself isn't inherently evil. It's a tool, but like any tool, if used improperly, it can cause more harm than good. There's a massive difference between using debt to create value and being trapped by debt that only takes value away from your life. Wealthy people understand this distinction. They don't avoid all debt. They avoid bad debt. And that difference is what sets them apart. Bad debt is any debt that takes money out of your pocket without giving anything back in return. It's debt used to fund consumption, not creation. Credit card debt, high-interest personal loans, payday loans, and borrowing to buy things that depreciate in value. These are all forms of bad debt. When you use borrowed money to purchase things that lose value the moment you walk out of the store, you're not building wealth. You're destroying it. You're locking future income into past decisions. And over time, that creates a heavy financial burden. The reason bad debt is so dangerous is that it steals your ability to grow. Every dollar you send to interest payments is a dollar you can't invest, can't save, can't use to build something meaningful. It puts you in a position where your money works for someone else, usually the bank. And make no mistake, banks are not in business to lose. They've built entire empires on the backs of people who didn't understand the cost of compound interest working against them. Let's be clear, avoiding bad debt doesn't mean you never use credit. It means you use it wisely and with purpose. It means you don't borrow money to buy clothes, go on vacations, or upgrade your lifestyle just to keep up appearances. It means you understand the long-term impact of every financial decision. Because once you're in debt, it's not just your money that's restricted. Your time, your options, and your peace of mind are affected too. You become tied to your job, to your monthly payments, to your obligations. That's not freedom. That's bondage. Now, wealthy individuals use debt differently. They may take out loans, but they do it to buy assets, real estate that produces rental income, businesses that generate cash flow, investments that grow in value over time. In these cases, debt becomes a lever. It helps them build faster because the debt is tied to something that puts money back in their pocket. But even then, they are cautious. They evaluate risk, calculate returns, and never overextend themselves. They stay in control. If you're already carrying bad debt, the good news is you can turn things around. The first step is to stop adding more. Don't dig a deeper hole. Cut up the cards if you have to. Create a budget and stick to it. List out every debt you have, from the smallest to the largest, and start attacking them one by one. Some prefer to pay off the smallest first for psychological wins, while others target the highest interest rate to save money. Either way, the key is momentum. Every debt you eliminate is one chain removed from your financial freedom. It also helps to change your environment. Surround yourself with people who value financial discipline. Read books, listen to podcasts, take courses on money management. Learn the difference between needs and wants. Learn to delay gratification. Ask yourself before every purchase, is this worth going into debt for? Is this improving my life in a meaningful way? Or is it just a moment of emotional satisfaction? And remember, this isn't about deprivation. It's about liberation. When you avoid bad debt, you're creating space. Space to save, space to invest, space to breathe. You gain peace of mind knowing that your future isn't mortgaged to your past. You regain control over your time and energy. And that control is where real wealth begins. The world is full of temptation. Easy credit, Buy now, pay later. Zero down today. But behind the shiny offers is a trap. And the price is your freedom. Wealthy people don't chase status with borrowed money. They live below their means. They plan ahead, and they make money decisions with clarity and purpose. They understand that the road to wealth isn't paved with purchases. It's built with discipline. So if you want to build a strong financial future, avoid bad debt. Learn to say no today, so you can say yes to bigger opportunities tomorrow. Let your money work for you, not against you. Because the less you owe, the more you own. Not just in dollars, but in peace, in power, and in potential. One of the most underrated principles of building lasting wealth is mastering the art of living below your means. At first glance, it might sound like a restriction, something that requires constant sacrifice and frugality. But in reality, it's the exact opposite. It's the foundation of financial freedom. Living below your means doesn't mean living in poverty or denying yourself joy. It means making intentional decisions about your lifestyle so that you have room to grow, save, invest, and create opportunities for your future. Many people fall into the trap of lifestyle inflation. As their income increases, so do their expenses. They get a raise and immediately upgrade their car, move into a bigger home, buy the latest gadgets, and start dining at more expensive restaurants. Before they know it, they're earning more money than ever. But they're just as broke or even more stressed than they were when they earned far less. Why? Because they never learned to manage their money. They only learned how to spend it. Wealthy individuals take a different approach. They don't allow lifestyle to dictate financial behavior. They let financial strategy lead, and lifestyle follows. They understand that financial security comes not from how much you make, but how much you keep, and what you do with what you keep. Living below your means is the discipline of spending less than you earn, and using the difference to build assets that generate more income. That's how the cycle of wealth begins. When you live below your means, you create financial breathing room. That breathing room is powerful. It gives you the ability to save consistently, to invest steadily, to weather financial storms, and to take advantage of opportunities when they come your way. It means you're not living paycheck to paycheck, constantly stressed about bills, or one emergency away from financial chaos. It means you can make decisions from a place of strength, rather than desperation. The concept isn't about deprivation. It's about alignment. When you align your spending with your values, you start to see what really matters. You realize that peace of mind is more valuable than impressing others. You understand that owning your time is more fulfilling than owning things that fade in excitement after a few months. You recognize that financial independence is built by discipline, not by display. A practical way to start living below your means is by tracking your expenses. It's hard to improve what you don't measure. Write down where your money goes each month. You might be surprised by how much leaks through small unconscious habits. Subscriptions you no longer use, impulse purchases, frequent takeout, or unnecessary upgrade. By identifying these, you can cut out what doesn't serve you and redirect that money toward your goals. Another helpful mindset is distinguishing between needs, wants, and desires. Needs are the essentials: housing, food, transportation, health. Wants are things that improve your life but aren't necessary: entertainment, nicer clothes, travel. Desires are the luxuries that offer short-term pleasure but often no long-term value: status items, high-end gadgets, or the latest trend. Living below your means doesn't mean cutting out all wants and desires, but it does mean being intentional about them. Ask yourself, does this purchase bring lasting value? Is it helping me move forward or holding me back? It also helps to establish a system. Automate your savings and investments so that money is allocated to your future before you even see it. Build your budget around your net income after saving, not before. This flips the script. You prioritize growth first, and lifestyle comes after. Over time, you won't feel restricted by this approach. You'll feel empowered because you'll see progress. Your bank account grows. Your investments grow. Your options grow. Living below your means is also a powerful example to those around you. In a world driven by comparison and consumerism, choosing a different path takes courage, but it also inspires. Your children, your friends, and your community see that wealth isn't about flashy spending. It's about thoughtful choice. You become a living example that success doesn't have to come with financial stress. You show that it's possible to have both prosperity and peace. Ultimately, living below your means is not about living less. It's about living better. It's about choosing freedom over frenzy, clarity over clutter, and long-term wealth over short-term thrills. It's one of the simplest yet most profound habits you can develop, because once you master it, every other financial strategy becomes easy. Saving, investing, giving, building. It all starts with this one choice: to spend less than you earn and use the difference to build a better future. That's how true wealth is made. Not in what you show, but in what you quietly grow. Giving generously may seem like a surprising principle when it comes to building wealth, but it is one of the most profound and transformative. True wealth isn't just measured in dollars and possessions. It's measured in impact, in freedom, and in the ability to bless others. Wealthy people understand that money is a tool not just for personal comfort, but for contribution. When you adopt a mindset of generosity, you're not just improving someone else's life, you're also enriching your own. There's something powerful about giving. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that there is more than enough. When you give from what you have, whether it's money, time, skills, or resources, you affirm that your life is not defined by what you keep, but by what you share. Generosity doesn't reduce your wealth. It expands it. It opens doors, builds relationships, and creates a flow of value that often returns to you in unexpected ways. Many people think they need to wait until they're wealthy to start giving. They say, once I make more, then I'll give more. But giving isn't about the amount. It's about the heart. If you won't give $1 out of $10, you're unlikely to give $100,000 out of $1 million. Generosity starts with what you have now. It's a practice, a habit, a lifestyle. It begins in the small things: helping a neighbor, supporting a cause, mentoring someone who needs guidance, tipping with gratitude, or giving quietly to someone in need. Wealthy individuals often give strategically. They understand that giving is not just emotional, it's also intentional. They give where it makes a difference. They support organizations that align with their values. They invest in communities, education, innovation, and causes that create ripple effects. Their giving becomes part of their legacy. It's not a loss. It's a multiplier. It creates goodwill, strengthens communities, and builds networks of trust and purpose that far exceed the limits of a financial return. What's interesting is that giving often increases your capacity to receive. When you give generously, you attract more opportunities. People trust you more. Doors open, partnerships form. Giving makes you more empathetic, more connected, and more grounded. It reminds you that no matter how much you earn, you're part of something bigger than yourself. And that awareness often leads to better decision-making. It keeps your ego in check. It keeps your heart soft. It reminds you of what really matters. There is also something deeply spiritual about giving. Regardless of your faith or beliefs, there's a universal law at play. When you give, you grow. The act of releasing something of value, whether it's money, time, or attention, develops character. It cultivates gratitude. It replaces greed with grace. And that inner shift often produces outer results. People who give generously tend to be more fulfilled, more optimistic, and more successful. Not because they gave to get, but because generosity transforms the giver. Of course, giving doesn't mean neglecting your responsibilities or sabotaging your own financial future. It's not about recklessness. It's about intentionality. You give wisely, you give within your means, and as you grow, you give more. Some people set aside a percentage of every paycheck. 10%. I've event. As a giving fund. Others volunteer time, mentor youth, or support local entrepreneurs. The form of giving doesn't matter as much as the spirit behind it. One of the most rewarding aspects of wealth is the ability to make a difference. Imagine being able to fund a scholarship, help a family get back on their feet, support a startup that changes lives, or build something lasting in your community. That's the kind of wealth that outlives you. That's the kind of success that goes beyond bank accounts and balance sheet. And it all begins with a mindset that says, I have enough to share. Generosity also builds legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? The car you drove, the clothes you wore, or the lives you touched? At the end of the day, people don't remember the things you owned. They remember how you made them feel. Giving creates memories. It inspires stories. It sets an example for your children and future generations. It tells them that wealth is not just about accumulation. It's about contribution. So give not just when you have extra, but because you choose to live with an open hand. Give because you understand that what flows through you is more powerful than what stops with you. Give because it's not about losing. It's about leading. Generosity is not a burden. It's a blessing. And the more you give, the more your life becomes rich. Not just in money, but in meaning, purpose, and joy.